Welcome, ImPowered Mission TV family. Thank you so much for joining our series, and conversoluting with us today is the award-winning clinician, surgeon, scholar, and educator, Dr. Aaron Fletcher. Dr. Fletcher is a board-certified otolaryngologist, head and neck surgeon. He is one of a select group of surgeons to attain dual training in the otolaryngology, head and neck surgery, and facial plastic and reconstructive surgery, and has combined his training in each specialty, y'all, to provide a full range of clinical and surgical services to his patients, not only just here, but globally. He brings nearly a decade of surgical training to the care of his patients, as well as a wealth of life experience and expertise that spans various disciplines of study. Hold on, family of viewers, we got a lot more for you, because he has leveled up as both a clinician and a scholar, and has authored numerous scientific publications, as well as his very own reference text on otolaryngology, head and neck surgery. He created Dr. Knows Better, a cartoonic, relatable character used to relate pertinent medical information to any generation, culture of patient, or future medical scholar. Dr. Fletcher has also held clinical professorships in general surgery at Harvard University School of Medicine and in otolaryngology at the University of Michigan Hospital. Education to include, but not limited to, I gotta do a shout out to Morehouse College right here in Atlanta, Georgia, with a medical degree from Temple University School of Medicine in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Dr. Fletcher has been recognized by his peers and supporters around the globe with numerous awards and accolades for his skills as an educator and for his innovative, forward-thinking approach to educating and caring for his patients. He looks forward to welcoming all patients into his extended family at the Georgia Center for ENT, and he implores every one of his staff members to treat each patient as if they were a member of his own family. After the brief break, put your seatbelt on and be ready to welcome none other than Dr. Aaron Fletcher. Welcome back, ImPowered Mission TV family. We thank you for joining us again. Today we have our very own Dr. Aaron Fletcher from Georgia Center ENT right here in Stockbridge, Georgia. So we're so glad to have you. How are you?
Great. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks
Good. You look awesome as always.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
We've got so much to conversalute with you about today. I mean, Dr. Fletcher, you have an amazing story of struggle and triumph and victory, and you've made many strides and advances through your journey as a youth, as a young adult, and now as an adult professional in the medical industry. And we know it's definitely worth noting and sharing with the world. So we're happy to talk to you about all of it, from, I don't even want to say the rooted to the tooted, but we're going to say it anyway. You know, your story really inspired our series. I mean, being a melanated individual, we've got to talk about that today. You are an individual that wants to inform, teach, promote, inspire our future leaders with candid feedback, support, and resources. And so I got to say it again, thank you so much for joining us, because I know your time is limited, right?
For sure.
So we thank you. So I'm just going to dive straight in. I'm going to dive right in. I want to know a little bit, and our viewers want to know a little bit about, how your journey has been up until now. You know, what was it like being one of 4 siblings?
It was great. I mean, I come from a really large family, and for me, I'm a big proponent of the saying that it takes a village.
Yeah. Okay.
It definitely took a village for me. I had great support from my mother and my siblings, really my whole family, but we had a large extended family of cousins and aunts and uncles, and each one of them poured something in to make this finished product.
Wow.
And so, what you see here is a product of a lot of people's input, and I'm just grateful that I come from the family that I do.
See, that's awesome. So it truly, you know, some people use that cliche, right? But the village is gone. But what I hear you saying is that there's truly an extended amount of cousins and your siblings that really poured into what you've become today. That's awesome. Were there any hard times that you endured during growing up as a young melanated man?
Yeah, we you know, we grew up. I grew up in the D.C. Maryland area
Okay.
at a time where, you know, the height of the crack epidemic.
Wow.
And that certainly decimated my neighborhood at large, and as well as certain aspects of my family were impacted by it as well. So we were raised during a very tumultuous time. And at points, you know, I had a single mother, single parent home, and all that comes with that. And it took a lot of mentorship from outside my family. I had some really great mentors that kind of rounded the edges out for me.
Wow, a true village.
And really, you know, we overcame a lot of struggle, you know, to get here. So it's a part of my story that I'm most proud of at this point.
When is that book coming out?
It's still it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, but it's ever being written.
That's awesome.
It's being written every day.
Yeah, yeah. And there could always be a part 2 and part 3, right? So that's awesome.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. You know, who were your role models back then?
I would say my mom was my biggest role model.
Oh, wow.
You know, my mother, you know, she's no longer with us, but, you know, in spirit, she's certainly been a big part of what's kept me going and really set the course for everything that I'm doing now.
Okay.
And she was my biggest inspiration by far.
That's beautiful.
You know, I'm always thinking about the things that I do in light of the things that she taught me and trying to make sure that those things line up, you know.
Wow. And see, that right there speaks to multiple generations right there, is really learning that, you know, our parents or our parent, the tribe, all of the things that they poured into us. And if we look back on those things, that's also a legacy that we begin to create. Because I'm sure you're doing that with your 6-year-old, right?
Absolutely.
AJ.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And he's going to have more to be able to, in the future, say, you know what, I learned this from my dad.
Yep.
So that's awesome. So what would you say to a 13-year-old you? Now.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Yeah, I would say enjoy the ride. You know, I think, you know, there's a certain tendency to get into this survival mode, especially when you come from, you know, a non-traditional or a disadvantaged background, as they say, and you know, to take yourself too seriously and to take life too seriously. But I think I would say enjoy it. You know, enjoy the ride. Listen to the people who are trying to teach you.
Okay.
Pay attention to your mother.
Ah.
Pay attention to your mentors. You know,
Okay.
I think knowledge comes from many sources. You know, around you, and you know, certainly in my case, that was the case. And I would tell myself, listen up, pay attention.
Listen up, pay attention.
Yeah.
Lean into the experience, I hear you saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
For
And I
sure.
love what you just said. Please make a note of it. And if you didn't hear it, you can rewind that thing. He said, listen to your mama.
Yeah. No
I think
question.
we can all say that, right? Ma dear,
question.
whatever you call mama dear,
Yeah.
listen to mama. I love it. And don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Got it. You know, what are you doing in the community right now to inspire the next generation of leaders?
I think the biggest thing is just, you know, I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I started my own practice, and you know, that's certainly something that I try to get over to the people that are looking up to me.
Okay.
I have students that come and follow me in my office just to learn the ropes of professionalism and how to run a business and how to go about being out there and doing your thing. And I think that's the biggest legacy that I leave is the example that I'm setting every day in my business, and just making sure I walk the walk. You know, not just portray an image as a professional, but also to have a lot of merit and a lot of integrity, and just setting the example. Also as a father as well.
Wow.
Just being being what as advertised. You know, that's the way.
Oh, wow.
I think that's.
As
I think that's the most important thing.
Wow.
You know, is just to be what people expect you to be.
Yeah.
You know, to the fullest extent. And you know, also I'm working on some educational initiatives as well, just to try to give back some of the information that I have and some of the knowledge that I have and experience. You know, I hope to just inspire another future group of doctors or people who want to be in the medical profession.
Okay.
We're actually at a low point for
yeah.
doctors getting into medical school, especially African American.
Okay.
I think in the early 2000s there were some legislative changes that brought about a big decline in the number of African Americans that were going to medical school.
Okay.
And so just being out there inspires people that they can be here, you know, and just showing people that, you know, you can do it as well, and that we're still needed in the community, and there's a path for you to get here, and to demystify that path. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
To
it's
keep
just to
it simple
demystify,
for
yeah,
them, right?
and also to let people know that it's attainable. You know, no matter where you come from.
And I think that's the biggest piece of it. You just hit the nail on the head right there, is that so many think it's so complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be, right? What is it? It's easy, but it's not simple. Is that what I think that's the right way I'm trying to look at it. But what you're saying is you're making yourself available.
Yep.
Available. Approachable, right? Because a lot of times people go, I don't know if I measure up to that level. You're like, no, come on in. Let me show you how everything is done. Okay, everything outside of the book part, the book knowledge, right? I got you. I love that. I mean, that's what real mentorship is all about. But we got to take a break, and I do want to tap into Dr. Knows Better. And we also want to tap into how the pandemic may have influenced your business to be better. And what kind of hurdles that he's gone through. But we'll be back. We'll see you in a minute.
Living life, feeling good inside. Ask me why, it ain't no surprise. We got the tea, good for you and me. Kings and queens, check out Ebony. Cancer, diabetes, STDs, and infertility. Endometriosis, vaginosis, weight loss, and fatigue. It's what we do, it's made for me and you. It's that rejuvenating feeling, gotta come and get your healing. Get your healing. Ebony Healing.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned in to ImPowered Mission TV. She Speaks with none other than Dr. Aaron Fletcher. And we were just talking about Dr. Knows Better, and then we had to run over to that break thing. But I'm going to ask you, you know, you said you wanted to make sure that the young professionals or aspiring doctors really were able to come to your practice, see how it is to be professional and courteous and competent, you know, a family type of environment. And I know that's so real when I saw Dr. Knows Better that you created. That is super fun, because that character for me was like, you know what, everybody can relate to Dr. Knows Better. So how did that come up? Where did it come from?
Yeah, you know, as a parent, you get to watch a lot of cartoons. You know, and one of the things that my son and I used to talk about was that there wasn't enough representation of African American or other races in cartoons. Just, you know, so even at a young age, he was very conscious of that. So this is our sort of answer to that. And I have a lot of information to share as well. And we thought it would be nice to package that with some fun content.
It's super fun.
Make it something that people could relate to, something that people could be proud of, and also that could help inspire people to be in the profession, make it look cool, make it look like something that people could want to be. You know? And that's an important thing. I think representation for us is lacking, and that's obviously an understatement. But this is something that we wanted to put out there. We just didn't see a lot of characters like that teaching this type of information, and we thought it would be a nice opportunity.
It is, was, and will be. I tell you, because I stay tuned in. I was watching it. You know, normally, I have to say it, I think about the commercials that I see sometimes, and they tell you about the medications, right? And then toward the end, you get the smooth music, but it tells you about all the side effects, right? And I tune out. But for your Dr. Knows Better, for that, I mean, that way of getting to us, right? I was tuned in. It was real,
Yeah.
you know, and it was slightly funny,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I was absorbing the information. So I'm telling you, family, you got to tune in to Dr. Fletcher's YouTube page, which is Aaron M. Fletcher. You just go on to YouTube and you'll be able to see a couple of them, and we've got more coming. But I tell you, it's truly a way to be able to get the message across,
For
right?
sure.
Definitely unconventional, because cartoons, you know, you're right. Your son is right. We don't see them that
Yeah,
often, and
yeah.
especially for the melanated family. You know, so let's talk about business and the pandemic, because we've got a few minutes in this segment. You know, the viewers want us to elaborate on this because Medscape Otolaryngologist lifestyle report stated that doctors in your field experience a 4.5 on a scale from 0 to 4.6 burnout.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you talk about that, and then you add a pandemic to this thing, and then you add that you're an active father, and you add that you're an active unsolicited mentor, right? You kind of like, listen, I'm gonna mentor you. Then you add that you are licensed in 4 states, okay? Busy, busy, busy. And now, let's just be real, you can't take the shirt off of being black in America. You can't just change that shirt every day.
Right.
You know, so my question for you is, how are you pressing through with all of that? The pandemic, any hiccups, any hurdles, you know, how are you, you know, outside of the obvious of business kind of slowing down, how are you able to press through all of that?
You know, I think medicine is a calling. You know, for me, it was a calling. It wasn't a profession. And this is a time where you experience the feel of that calling more than ever. The purpose of it, especially for our community and the way that COVID has impacted our community. I just don't really see a way that I can lose my enthusiasm or my purpose at this time. So this has been a really important time to be a physician, you know, and I think outside of the burnout, which is obviously a part of our profession no matter what time, what's going on outside of the profession at large. But the pandemic has really brought a new sense of purpose, a renewed sense of purpose about this profession. And so I've actually taken a lot of pleasure in being a doctor now, because people need doctors more now than they have at any other time, especially for the information component and to shed some light on what's going on, because you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there. We all know that. The mainstream media has really done a number with the information, and it takes doctors who are settled and who are grounded to kind of parse through that for people. And I'm getting more and more requests for people, from people, to do that, because they're looking for an unbiased, objective scientific opinion more than ever. And that's sort of come at a premium during the pandemic. So I really have settled into a position of being you know, sort of a truth seeker, and someone who is really trying to get to the bottom of the information and to present it in a way that doesn't create fear among people, which is really rampant at this time. It is. And just to try to get through the misinformation so people can make educated decisions. That's part of what a physician does anyway, but I think it's more important now than it ever has been.
Okay, yeah. And what I like what you just said, well, I like everything you just said, and you're saying, listen, I'm a truth seeker. And not only that, because it's your calling and it's your purpose, you're like, I'm not wavered in this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get the truth, and I'm going to share it because this is my calling.
Yeah.
And it's even more important, if I may, now that things are just really weird, and like you said, the media's sending out information that puts fear in us. You know, I was afraid, I was scared, you know, and so, you know, it's good to hear, and talking to you, and good to hear a doctor saying, listen, I'm seeking the truth, and I'm going to give it to you real, okay? You know, and so speaking of that, how would you have done things a little bit differently in getting that information out to the public?
Yeah, I think that's 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 a big thing. But I mean, I think the most important thing is to settle on simple messaging.
Okay.
You know, which I think we have, but there's still been various sources of information that we're not really sure how trustworthy they are.
Okay.
So I think really establishing maybe one central source of information outside of the sort of press conference and the news spin, and really allow people to find the information on their own. In this age, you know, people are much more accustomed to getting information on their own just because of, you know, how widely available things are with the internet and so forth. So, you know, really getting ahead of that and putting the information in one location and having it be updated in a way that is current with the information that's coming in about the pandemic. Because I think there's just been a lot of spin from the traditional media sources that have prevented people from getting to the bottom of, okay, so what's really going on?
What's really going on?
And what do I really need to know? And who's telling the truth? And what do I really need to be focused on or paying attention to? And, you know, obviously there's a tremendous amount of politics involved with this. And even in the messaging as well. And I don't think people are really looking for that. I think people are looking for straight facts, straight truth. And I don't really think that there's that many sources that are really stripped down to that point, that are separate from the opinion. Yeah, a lot of different information that has, you know, agenda behind it.
Right.
You know, a lot of things that are a lot that I could say, but even from the physician standpoint, you know, among the physicians that I discourse with, there's been a lot of back and forth between us just about what's real and what do we believe. So I just think, you know, I think the main thing is the messaging. You know, the messaging has been really jumbled, and you know, I think this is a time where people need to be able to trust their information sources, and that I think has been really, you know, put in a bad spot during this pandemic. So
it has been.
But we need voices in our community too. You know, we have doctors that we've all seen, you know, put out there as the experts, and I don't think anybody's really an expert on this because we're all going through it, we're all learning as it goes along. No one's really been through a global pandemic of this scale, so no one can really claim to be an expert about this as it's going on. We all are learning. So
but it sounds like you're collaborating.
We collaborate, and we also are collaborating with doctors outside of our borders. You know, there's information coming in from other countries as well that isn't really being spoken to. So I think this is a time where doctors need to be of a singular voice, and it's unfortunate that we've had, and I think we've all fallen victim to the disinformation. But yeah, this is a time for us to be unified in how we speak to our community in particular.
How we speak to our community in particular.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really deep, and that really takes us in again a woke generation of leadership, because it's different. Our community is different. There's no doubt about it. And we have to approach things differently. And so, you know, family, we'll be right back. We just have a few more minutes in this next segment. I ask that you hang in there with us. A whole bunch of knowledge and wisdom coming from Dr. Fletcher, and we don't want you to miss it. So come on back for the last few minutes. Welcome back, family. Welcome back. Welcome back. You know, tell us how we can reach, or how our viewers can reach you and the family at Georgia Center of ENT.
Yeah, so we have a website, AaronFletcherMD.com. I'm also on Instagram at AaronFletcherMD. We are located in Stockbridge, 1106 Hospital Drive, Stockbridge, Georgia, 30281. And our phone number is 678-902-9495. We take appointments throughout the week, Monday through Friday.
Make sure, family, that you go to the website, because, you know, we didn't do a deep dive as we conversoluted today about all of the different services that Dr. Fletcher and his team provide. So make sure you go to that website. It gives you the whole kit and caboodle, okay? But as we connect, as you connect, I should say, Dr. Fletcher, with the new rising generation of professionals, of leaders, not just in general, you know, our new rising generation of leaders. What are some candid thoughts that you'd like to leave them with? I mean, and you know, I'd say just kind of look at the camera and what you'd like to leave them with.
Yeah, the most important thing is, you know, I pride myself on what I do. I take pride in my position in the community.
Hold on. That's your son. I love it. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, that's my son's in the background. But yeah, I think, you know, if anyone who's interested in going into careers in the healthcare industry, whether you want to be a physician or a surgeon or a nurse or anything ancillary to that, I'm very approachable. You can shoot me an email, aaron@aaronfletchermd.com. Let me know what you want to do. I can see if I can connect you with someone who might help you or be a mentor. I think mentorship is critical. Mentorship is really the vehicle to get where you're going. And I pride myself on being a mentor to anyone who's interested.
Awesome.
And if I'm not able to provide that myself, then I can certainly connect you with someone in my network that can do that as well.
Awesome.
Seek mentorship.
Awesome.
It's critical.
Seek mentorship. It is critical. It is critical. And you know what? High five to Dr. Aaron Fletcher, because right now we have 17.1% active physicians in the United States that are melanated. We have 56.1% that are white, and then that remaining percent are other cultures. And so we definitely high five and sign on with Dr. Fletcher in that seeking mentorship is critical to your success and to your journey. Thank you for viewing. Talk to you soon, family.